Welcome to the Mindset Connection podcast, and thank you for tuning in for our 31st episode. If you're new to us, welcome. We are your hosts, Jennifer Clearwaters and Cindy O'Connell. And as you know, in every show, we are featuring people who are doing extraordinary things in the field of mental health and wellness. And we hope that you're going to find our guest today just as amazing and inspiring as we do, because he's not an everyday change maker. He's actually a highly accomplished professional in the field of mental health and wellness. And we are welcoming today Dr. Peter Amato. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to jump right in and give you a little bit of a background on all the extensive things that he's done. So Dr. Peter Amato has been a leader in integrative nutrition with over 25 years of experience in treating patients with acute and chronic conditions. He's a board certified doctor of natural medicine and established himself as a world-renowned leader in addiction recovery. He's also a 500-hour yoga teacher, a certified meditation instructor, a Reiki Master, a certified MBSR teacher, a certified Primordial Sound Healer, a Zen Master, and a lay monk in the Mahayana tradition of Buddhism. Dr. Amato is also the founder of the Inner Harmony Wellness Center in Scranton, or not quite Scranton, but in the Scranton, Pennsylvania area, where he offers services, treatments, and retreats that connect the mind, body, and spirit. Dr. Amato has also written multiple books and healing programs and has worked with other experts in the field, including Deepak Chopra, Andrew Weil, Jon Kabat-Zinn, Thích Nhất Hạnh, and the Dalai Lama. Dr. Amato has also donated his time working in schools and prison facilities to help make the world a better place. And I'm sure that I missed several things, but we're going to jump right in. So thank you, Dr. Amato, for being here.
All right. So, Dr. Amato, maybe you can introduce who's sitting next to you.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm grateful and honored to be here today. And I'm joined by one of my lead practitioners, Jacqueline, who's been with us for some time now and has a laundry list of good things she's done in the world herself as far as health and wellness is concerned, as well as being a homeschooling mom.
That's a job.
That is a job. That is a job.
Well, welcome,
wow.
Jacqueline.
That's impressive. So, Dr. Amato, if you could tell us your story, how did you find your way to mental health and wellness?
Well, they say a nudge, a grudge, or a judge. And when I was 38 years old, I was a vigilante. I had gone down some wrong roads in my life. I was successful in business, had a large business, 1,000 employees, and wine, women, and song caught up to me, and I went over the line and ended up in a drug and alcohol rehab center, 28-day inpatient stay, and became a follower of the 12-step program. And along the way, the search brought me toward mental health, wellness, nutrition, and personal growth. And I became a sponge and just started to study and go to all the conferences I could go to around the country, and went to other countries, learning more about engaged spirituality, human consciousness, and how I could find a better path and a better way to live my life. That was my beginnings.
Yeah. And with many spiritual leaders or folks like yourself, it always starts with self first. Once you have established a practice yourself, then you're able to share it with others. So obviously, all of what you've done all started from that, what seemed like a failure, quite honestly, right?
Absolutely. To be 38 years old and end up in an inpatient facility, I wondered how I got there. And
Yeah.
the beauty is that several community members who were business leaders in our community were also in the recovery movement, and they took me under their wing and they said, you have a chance to restart your life, reboot your life, and it'll be a life you never dreamt possible. So I had to just, heed their advice and surrender to the fact that I ended up there for a reason. And with that, they asked me to begin practicing meditation daily, 15 to 30 minutes of just mindfulness meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and to do that every day for the rest of my life and go to an AA meeting every day. And I did that for quite 3 years, basically, never missed a meeting. And still practice meditation, 20 some years later on a regular basis. And it really changed my life and has affected everything about me.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. And the fact that, when you ended up in a facility, just like other people who end up there may feel like, okay, I've totally hit rock bottom, and the fact that you were able to say, okay, I am still going to take a step forward and try something different and try something new and stick with it. That's really incredible.
Absolutely. The judge that gave me the opportunity to either go to rehab or go to jail is my best friend today. And we've turned that into a beautiful thing. So now we actually bring some of our work into the judicial system, the prison system, the family system, and the drug and alcohol treatment centers that are county based. So we've really been able to help and give back over the 25 years basically of working with the community and giving back, if you will.
That's really
Mhm.
incredible. So, tell us about the work at the Wellness Center. What was your vision for the space and how did it develop over time and over years? And if you haven't seen it for our listeners and viewers, if you go on Dr. Amato's website and you look at this place, it is
gorgeous.
absolutely just incredible. So how did this dream of yours become a reality?
So in going on the road when I got sober, it was a matter of finding out how to optimize health in a mind, body, and spirit way. And with that, and traveling and visiting and enhancing my own life, that vision became clear that I wanted to give back to society. So I opened up a freestanding integrative medicine based practice in a 4,200 square foot facility that I rented, eventually purchased, and began to weave together a multidisciplinary approach to optimum health from a holistic perspective. So, that being said, we had as many as 20 different practitioners under roof, all part time for the most part, and we would weave together clinical protocols that would address whether somebody needs physiological support, mental health support, spiritual support. And we had classes and workshops and programs ongoing and major advertising. And we built quite a community back in 1997. Early 2000s, we went hospital based. We were invited through a Mercy healthcare system to come in. And at that time, I was working very closely with medical doctor Andrew Weil. I was actually the chairman of his board and developing the curriculum for the most longstanding and largest educational program at the University of Arizona at Tucson, which still today is the largest, where they teach medical doctors and nurses about the healing arts in a world that Dr. Weil coined as integrative medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So between integrative medicine and functional medicine, we ended up in this, actually it's my home, where we now have a doctor's office. We moved out of the hospital. Along the way, I had another freestanding clinic in the Caribbean on the island of St. Martin for quite some years, where we had a waiting list practice there until a hurricane hit in 2017. So we're now working out of my home, and we have a wellness center adjunctive, as well as a yoga and meditation studio adjunctive to the doctor's office, which is located in the residence.
And it is quite extensive. Dr. Amato, you allowed me to come in and visit the facility, and it really is beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's good work
Even
going
when
on
you
there.
look at it online, I mean, it's just, I imagine you get a sense of peace and calm when you walk in.
The second you get there, yes.
So, yeah, you really created a masterpiece there.
Yes.
So, for many years, you trained in India. Tell us about that. Like, what made you decide to go to India? So, I mean, you're trained in mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is to be actually a practitioner, it's a long process. So, was that involved with India, or was that separate? Maybe you could just tell us about that.
Yeah, so somehow in early recovery and with meditation, I became a student of, let's call it waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know what that meant, but I began to engage deeply in Eastern philosophy, and some of the scriptures from whether it be the yogic tradition or the Buddhist tradition, that all pointed east. So that's where I decided to study with Dr. Chopra. And along that realm, he was running trips to India, and I started studying also with Thich Nhat Hanh. So I ended up desiring to go to India to feel what it was like to learn more into the different Eastern philosophical traditions. And I actually made appointments with living masters and gurus, as they would call them, who were alive, as well as go to the ashrams of the deceased ones as well, because I was studying integrative medicine and went back for my doctoral degree at that time. And I wanted to learn more about energy medicine and spirituality, and was going to workshops with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, received blessings from him a handful of times, and studied with him as well. So I wanted to feel the energetics of India, and it really mesmerized me when I went there and got off the plane. It was like I felt like I was home for whatever
Mm.
reason, and I never will forget that. And I just kept steeping and learning about the different traditions of Buddhism and yogic philosophy, and meeting people like Sri Ravi Krishnar. Became friends with him, and he had a brand new ashram, Mahat Mandir they call it, and went there. I went to Auroville, India, which is famous for integral philosophy by a very early on sage called Sri Aurobindo, and long deceased, but he invented integral philosophy. Actually had a city called Auroville in India where it was a holistic city. And I just met his nephew and stayed there for a few days and went to their ashram. And I just kept bouncing around and experiencing and feeling and learning. And it kind of swept me up, and it became somewhat of who I am today, a Western, uh, student of engaged spirituality.
Hmm. I can hear it in your voice and even your body. You could.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like you were back there, imagining yourself, reliving all of the places that you've been. So, how many years were you actually in India? As it sounds like you were there for an extensive amount
Yeah.
of time.
No, believe it or not, I was only there a couple of months,
Oh,
3 different times,
okay,
probably for a month each.
And it
okay.
had that much of an impact on you.
It did. It
Yeah.
changed my life in a radical way.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you? So this is, this question is, as I'm just thinking about it. So you come back here, and are you saying something's missing, or how do I, create that same magic that I felt in India back here at home?
Well, that's a fascinating question because it came more like who I became,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still trying to this day to pass that on to people, my lived experience here in the West. And it really starts with waking up and then growing up. And the whole ideology of that has shifted and changed radically here over the last 100 years with the mental health and philosophy. It's really shapeshifted the way we can grow in a different way to move beyond the illusion and what the Buddhists would call grasping and suffering. Where here, when you look at duality and the way, look around, right? We're split, 50-50 in basically everything we look at, and it doesn't have to be that way, and that's really the heart of my teaching. Is integral philosophy basically says that we can transcend yet include all of the ideologies out there, and that's at the heart of what I teach,
Mm-hmm.
and try to bring that into the office in a holistic way of integrating organs and glands and systems of our body that need to be integrated and talked about from a holistic perspective rather than parts and pieces in a separate silo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's really great. So I know that you're very passionate about your work in the space of addiction recovery. So, can you tell us, our listeners, what is it that you do? What do you offer at the center? What have you done to give back to people who maybe are where you were when you were 38 and don't know what to do and want to make a change, but they don't even know how?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the world of recovery has been very good to me, the 12-step recovery. I'm a meeting maker. I sponsor people, and I very much engaged in 12-step. But there was a point in time when, I became maybe complacent with the 12 steps, and I needed a deeper meeting. Although it saved my life and I'm grateful, I felt as though if you merge that with some type of meditation, for example, the 11th step of a 12-step program says that we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. The true reality is that most 12-steppers don't apply the second half of that 11th step, which is the meditation. Maybe they pray and, they have a sense of religion, but they don't really steep in the quiet. And we say in 12-step that when we pray, we talk to our God, but when we meditate, we listen. And to me, that's the key to life, is to be able to tap into the inner listener, which Dr. Chopra had taught me early on. Because the God of your understanding is always giving you signs and symbols and people. And if you're available and awake enough to take the heed and follow that direction, your whole life will change right before your eyes. That's been a key part of my waking up process, as well as growing up process.
How do you get someone to buy into that? Like, what would be the first step that you would give somebody in terms of the waking up process?
It's very different. We teach children in schools, we teach teachers, mental health, addiction, recovery, prison projects, and it's really about meeting people where they're at is the key to it all. And the words you choose that they may hang on to, so it could be stress reduction, it could be breathing techniques. For example, in the schools, they said, "Oh, you cannot use the word yoga." So we have to be
we know
mindful of parents and people's belief
Yoga
systems.
is a religion.
Yeah, right.
That's what they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's really about finding Dr. Chopra would say it's almost like FM radio, where you have to find the right channel
Yes,
to be able
that's
to
so
communicate
true.
effectively. Yeah.
Very true.
So it's interesting because this morning I was just at a local high school, which is the students in the county can apply to go there, and they take the top 2 students or 1 student from each school to attend this school. And so really brilliant kids are there at this school. So I always go in every year and talk to them about mindfulness and meditation, but I would never call it that. So I walk in and say I'm a stress reduction educator, exactly what you were saying. And I have so much information, but I'm going to see what do they need right now and how am I going to break this down that they're going to be able to use it. So, which leads us to our next question. You mentioned schools, but so are you working with elementary schools? Were you working with high schools, colleges? What happened for you?
K through 12, really. Back in 2010, we had a federal grant from the Department of Education where we basically, it went on for about 3 years, where we took a number of schools, and senior teachers that I had taught would go into the schools and work with the teachers and work with the children. And we got great results. In fact, we were asked to participate in the mindfulness-based stress reduction annual summit that Jon Kabat-Zinn puts on at the UMass. We participated there with our results. We published our results in a peer-reviewed journal. With that being said, they said, "Okay, we want to refund you and we want to give you a whole school." So that was interesting. So we had a whole K through 6 school where we actually brought the teachers out and did a train the trainer program with the teachers over a period of months. And then we had the principal would come on the loudspeaker twice a day, and it would be time for inner harmony.
Oh, I love that.
Me
Time for
too.
inner
I
harmony.
like that.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
We're going to steal that.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. It was 5 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon.
15. That's great. Yes.
Yeah, for the whole school at the same time, by their desks in the room. And in fact, if you go on the Inner Harmony Wellness YouTube channel, you'll see there's a video from that 2010 experience. It's almost in black and white, it's so old. But basically, we would do a mindful breathing, gentle movement, and a guided body scan.
All very, very safe words for schools.
Right, right. So those are the 3 ways of having them try to become a little more introspective and maybe quiet the mind a little bit. And we did the research, pre-mid and post research, and it was a big success. And for whatever reason, we were called upon maybe 2 years ago, for whatever reason, just to do it again.
Mhm.
And it came from a different direction. And at this time, though, it was to grant to go into two school districts. So basically, it was about 8 schools, over 1,000 students, and a 2-year grant to do basically the same thing, this time K through 12.
That's
We
great.
just finished up our first year, and we had relatively good success. Because it's so large of a project, it has been very hard to get people to come on board, if you will.
Mhm.
So it's been somewhat of a struggle, to be honest with you. So we're finding our way, we're learning, and we're trying to find people that really cherish the idea and work harder with the kids. But it's been challenging, and we're trying to actually try to figure a way to work with the parents in year 2
Yes.
and see if we could get them involved.
Yes.
So when you're saying, so it's still the same process. You're training the trainers. So it's people in the school that are actually working with the students. So does anybody ever go in there and just check out and see what's happening?
Yeah, so we have a floater that's in there 2 or 3 days a week
That's
from our
perfect.
staff.
Yep.
And we trained the social workers, the nurses, the guidance counselors, and the school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they teach the kids. But the problem that came in this time around is that the affordability of time became a constraint, with each school being different, who moves around different room to room, uh, who needs X amount of minutes to suffice the federal requirements in their bell-to-bell world. So we're bumping up against all the bureaucracy of the system
Yes.
and the
Mm-hmm.
compliance required.
Right. Right.
Yep.
So we're learning our way how to work through that. So we actually brought it down from 5 and 15 minutes. We just recently did 3-minute scripting, where just if we could just get 3 minutes.
They don't realize what a difference it will make. 3 minutes will make a huge difference.
It's so sad because
Yeah.
like even these students, they're in this high pressured school. It was high pressure for them to even get in it that I was at this morning. And if they had had that experience in the elementary school, they would be in such a better place right now. So
Yeah.
it's just, as we're talking about this, what is it that you feel personally children need in the schools right now? What, or
Or
what do
what
they,
more of? What
what do
they
they need more of?
Yeah.
Peace, just
Yeah.
a sense of social and emotional peace and compassion, and not have to get so molded by family and society over time that kind of corrupts them into the social setting of the day.
Yeah.
It's sad
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in
It
our
is.
world. And if you don't learn at an early age how to be different, that's why I think Jackie has a really great idea about homeschooling and how important that could be.
And in
Mhm.
fact, I was just gonna ask Jackie to just share with us your experience. How old are your children in the homeschooling, and how do you feel that's working?
So my children are 10, 8, 6, and 4. And I think the kids, especially in the school districts, they need a brain break. The teachers are on
Yes.
their bell-to-bell world where they have, okay, I have 45 minutes for history, and then the next teacher has 45 minutes for math, and then 45 for language arts. And the kids are going from class to class to class
Right.
without a brain break. And the teachers maybe feel like we need every single minute, but we're trying to say you can gain back your minutes of refocusing and redirecting with just a 3 or 5 minute meditation, a brain break, and then they'll be ready to learn and absorb and retain.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it sounds so easy, but it's not. But if we could just make a start, like you're saying, even Dr. Amato, even 3 minutes, over time, small steps will lead to big changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Jackie, while we're on the subject of talking to you, can you let us know, like, what is your role at the Wellness Center? What do you do?
So I assist Dr. Peter with clients in the doctor's office.
Mhm.
I also run the modalities over in the Wellness Center. So I take clients through the muscle testing and then through the adjunctive modalities that we have to increase the detoxification or the energizing. I'm going into the schools a couple days and making sure everything's running smooth there. And then on the back end, running some marketing and
Sounds
You're
like a
doing
full-time
everything.
job.
More than a full-time job.
whatever needs to be done.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So, Dr. Amato, can you share a little bit about your books? I know that you just finished writing one, and you have several that are out. Can you share with our listeners what the topics are, and how people can find them, where can they get them?
Yeah, sure. So my earlier book in 2010, I just put out a second edition of Soul Silence: The Path of Awakening. The first book was Soul Silence: A Unique Approach to the 11th Step, which we talked about earlier. This one is what has happened since then, 2010, is The Path of Awakening, that has basically changed my life and my world post India and meditating regularly for all these years. So it's an opportunity for people to learn about waking up, and growing up. I also included my doctoral dissertation work in there, which is a path of waking up that really we interviewed over 100 people in early recovery, and it's really a proven path, basically, that helps people figure out how to wake up, whether they're in recovery or not. And that's been successful. So you could go on peteramato.com and pick up my books. There's audio books available as well as Kindle and hardcover, softcover. And there's free meditations on there, a 15 and a 30-minute guided meditation, which we try to put out to our people, whether it be in the doctor's office or in the rehab centers or whatever population we're working with. And then in the last year, I wrote a book about what's happening in the doctor's office, which is still in the process of coming out. And I'm really inspired about that. It talks about the aspect of energy medicine and how quantum physics has really informed our ability to locate and remediate the root cause of all symptoms of chronic health conditions.
That's great. Well, I can say I did read your book, and it was excellent. So, it flowed very well. And like I said, when you were talking about all the interviews that you did with people on different stages of recovery, it was very insightful when you got to see people at all different stages and from all walks of life, and how, the principles that you're applying really do help people along the way. That was really, really great book.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about mindfulness-based stress reduction, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know what it is, and where was that in this journey that you decided to become a practitioner?
That was primary. When I looked into the different types of meditation, the least woo-woo and the most effective sounded to me like breathing in and breathing out.
Yep.
So that's really the basis of mindfulness meditation. It's recognized as a particular way of paying attention, So, when you think about waking up, it's really about becoming aware. So like when I got sober, like I moved away from being selfish and self-centered and fixated on getting my drink or drug. All of a sudden, when you take that away and you detox, all of a sudden you wake up to the world and you become realizing that it's no longer a good idea to be selfish and self-centered anymore. So now there's a we, there's others. So when you bring that into your life, all of a sudden you have to be able to cope and deal with that in a new and different way. So learning how to connect with your breathing is the difference between reacting and responding.
Yep. We say that all the time.
Amen.
Yep.
So if you can learn to practice breathing in a way that you could buy space, maybe it's one breath or two breaths, your whole autonomic nervous system can shift, and you don't become as reactive, and you can wait on how you will respond. And the more you practice, the more you become informed, by your belief system, the cosmos, or whatever your belief system allows you to go through any of the 5 to 7 stages of growing up, if you will, consciousness. You can then speak to people differently and change a lot of lives through breathing with them and making more of a congruent connection with these people in a mind, body, and spirit way through breathing.
That's
Intentionality.
wonderful.
So, what would be a takeaway that you would want our listeners to know?
Well, probably to slow down and redesign the way you live. Cut your to-do list in half and allow more time for self-care. If you could just carve out an hour a day for self-care and invest in your mind, your body, and your spirit. And also giving back, having compassion for others, maybe some service work in there once in a while too,
Mm-hmm.
would help us change the world in amazing ways.
Yeah, that's very wise. Thank you for that.
So true. Dr. Amato, if someone is listening right now and says like, you know what, I think I really need to make an appointment, or I think that, their services could help me, like what's the best way for people to do that?
They could go on our website, innerharmonywellness.com,
Mm-hmm.
or they could call us 570-319-6073 and have a free phone consult
Oh,
where we
that's
could talk
great.
about their health and wellness
Okay, that's good
to
to
see if
know.
we're a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then same thing for the, if the retreats are, someone is looking at your space thinking, I think this would be a great place for me to come and maybe run a retreat there. Is that the same place that they would come to reserve a spot or get a
No,
consult?
yeah, Jennifer, that would be a different website. That would
Okay.
be Harmony Mountain Institute.com.
Got it. Okay.
And you can see our facility and our retreats and the availability and our team.
Wonderful.
So, do you have some retreats that are coming up in the near future?
Well, we are seasonal, with the weather here. So we're looking at late May, early June starting.
Okay.
And then usually 1 or 2 a month through the next, till the fall.
And are they day retreats or people stay? How does
They're
that
actually
work?
weekend retreats.
Weekend.
June 4th through 7th, July 16th through 19th, and August 13th through 16th are currently what we have set up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a wonderful facility, around 100 acres. It's a sacred land. It's EMF free. You can hear a pin drop here. It's quite an experience just to be here. And then when we add our agenda, it becomes even more fascinating.
What are some typical things that people could expect as far as an agenda if they were to come to a weekend retreat?
So there's morning yoga, organic cuisine, hiking, workshops, mind, body, spirit workshops. At night, we have usually a fire circle. We build a big fire and have some type of letting go ceremony or whatever that is in need for the population. So it's really customized. They have a doctor's office visit. They spend a few hours in the wellness center, whether it be red light therapy, ionic lens foot bath, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, hiking on the property, amazing salt pool, jacuzzi, steam room, sauna.
I'm sold.
It's everything you would want on a getaway weekend for mind, body, and soul.
Okay.
It's
All right. Thank
incredible.
you. So, these are some questions that we always ask every guest. So, how do you view failure?
I think failure is success. That's the key to success is if you don't fail, you don't learn from your mistakes, learn how to do something different the next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
everything you've spoken about today kind of leads to
We
that
were
answer.
expecting that answer.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely. So, what are your 3 most important strengths?
Oh, that's a hard question.
So, I'm just going to stop you for a second. It's so interesting that people like yourself who are so, I mean, you've done so many things. And when I ask you about your strengths, you're like, oh, that's a
I have to
hard
think
question.
about it.
Go with
maybe
your
that's
gut.
one of my strengths.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think humility is important.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
And to be right sized. I think my ability to be present is one of my gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion, I think, is important. And giving back.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what is going well in your life?
I think everything is going well.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I kind of expected that answer as well.
And that's an answer we need in today's world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
If I could say one shortcoming of mine, it would probably be learning how to manage expectations.
Okay.
Everybody wants to talk about their shortcomings.
That's
Right.
the truth. Because they're the easiest.
Not their
They're the
strengths.
easier ones to come up with. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. So, Dr. Amato, what do you think is next for you? You've already done so many things. What do you think is next on the list?
I'd love to be more involved in teaching healthcare practitioners.
Mm.
You know, I
Mhm.
So
enjoy
would we.
teaching
Yes.
self-inquiry
Yes.
from one side of the brain, meditation, but from the other side of the brain, I'd love to teach people the quantum medicine that we do every day in our office. And in the last year, we rolled out a little partnering with one of our vendors, um, bioenergetic certification. We taught the doctors and healthcare practitioners, nurses. We had the 3 weekends, level 1, level 2, level 3 trainings. You know, we had maybe a dozen people come through that we certified doing our work. And we're just trying to flourish our work and change the way medicine is designed and delivered, really, is our mission and vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really key for me as a legacy, you know, in passing on our work and how it really can, you know, I say this in a positive way, but it can really obsolete medicine and save a lot of, you know, would change the world, really. You know, if you
Yeah.
could see somebody for 3 to 6 visits and not only tell them the root cause of their problem, but remediate it in 3 to 6 visits, which is what we do, just imagine what would happen in society.
Yes, that's incredible.
Mhm.
And you know what, Dr. Amato, look, I was also thinking this, like, do you do any work with, because I know where you're located, there are many schools and colleges, universities there. Do you do any work with athletes?
Not in a general way. You know, I've lectured at most all the universities locally here over the years, but we've never really developed any long-term relationships with them.
Okay. Maybe that's
Yeah,
something, because
yeah.
when you're talking about remediating injuries and illnesses in short amount of times, what coming up to me are, lots of athletes that are playing hardcore sports and get injured,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
and the treatments and the modalities that you have at the wellness center sound like it would be something helpful.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that idea. We're always looking forward to growing.
That's what we do
Yes,
here.
we-
We're connectors.
Yes, we connect.
Brainstormers.
We connect.
So we always like to ask all of our guests these questions too. This has to do with our book, The Elevation Principles. Is there something in your life that you want to change? It's a yes or no.
No,
Okay. Okay. Jacqueline, how
Yep.
about you?
I think yes, because I'm always open to change. I feel like you can't grow if you're not willing to change.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to say that we have asked probably 1,000 people
Oh, yeah.
this question, and 2 other people said no.
That's
and
it.
they were
Most
both
people say
males.
yes.
So now you're the third.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of fascinating. And they were all different age groups too, 30s, 40s, and I'm not sure how old you are, but maybe you're still in your 40s. So
Mhm.
I don't think so with everything that you've done though. So the next question is, what is holding you back? And since you don't have anything to change, Dr. Amato, you don't have to answer this, but Jackie, you can. What's holding you back?
I think holding me back would just be the unknown.
Okay. All right. So what is one thing that you can do to take a step forward towards whatever that change is that you want in your life?
I think I could integrate some more meditation in my life, because it is hard to get those 15, 30-minute pockets. So I've been trying to take 5 minutes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes when, I get to work before I get out of the car, 5 minutes when I
So
get home
good.
before I
Yep.
get out of the car,
Yeah.
when I just am locked in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So here's a little suggestion for you before you get out of bed. Do some
Mm.
breathing before you get out of bed. So I say
Yeah.
to people, place your hands in this position, unshakable
Mhm.
trust in self, and just do 10 breaths. It should take you 2 minutes,
Yep.
but then you pop out of bed and mind body is connected.
Yep. And you're
I love that.
starting your day in more of a calm
Yeah.
space rather than,
Yeah.
you know, your alarm goes off and you go, oh, I have to start my day.
Yeah, and for people always say, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. But just to lay there, and it gives your body just a chance to just, okay, I'm waking up.
Yep.
I'm
Mhm.
thankful for the day.
Yep. Just
So,
nice,
Yeah,
calm way
thanks
to
for that.
start.
okay.
Jackie, before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you a homeschool question. So if
Okay.
somebody is out there thinking like, okay, I might be interested in moving into the homeschool space, but I have no idea what to do. How did you start? Or what would be a suggestion for somebody who is interested in homeschooling, but they have no idea what to do?
I think the first step is unschooling, especially if your child was already enrolled in a school. You have to not try to recreate that public school at home and give yourself the first couple, of months even just to realize you're not recreating school at home. That's not what homeschooling is, and unschool yourself and let go of the expectations of we have to do this from this time to that time and this time to that time. And,
Mm.
everything is learning.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's a really good
that's
idea.
That was really sound advice. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
And hard too, because sometimes people will feel like, okay, this is a really hard job for, for one person to do. So how do you get all of your resources and materials? And because when you're thinking of a child in a traditional public school setting has multiple teachers throughout the day in multiple subjects.
Yeah, absolutely. I tap into the support network and the community, and I reach out to family and I say, okay, grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles, pick something you want to teach the kids. And my dad will show them how to change oil in a car, and that's learning, And
Yeah.
my sister-in-law specializes in language, arts, and reading, and I'll have her use her tips and tricks for those tricky little rules we have in our English language. And an uncle will take the kids out ice fishing, and now they know how to calculate the thickness of their ice before they go on it to stay safe. And there's so many groups, even if you don't have that family support system to each sort of take a channel. There's lots of co-ops out there, and we sign up for all the classes.
Okay.
You're definitely learning things you're not learning in school.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And the network is so vast you wouldn't even imagine it. The
Mhm.
Yeah.
connectivity.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, so maybe we could end, Dr. Amato, you could give us a relaxation technique that you feel everyone needs to know, or maybe has worked for you.
Well, I think once we become aware, then it really matters about what we become aware of, right? Because awareness is like a scanner, it's like a flashlight from within that could take your awareness in any direction you like. So, anchoring awareness by focusing on the tip of your nose
Mm.
is paramount. So, if you can recognize the cool air at the tip of the nose on the inhale, and just imagine that it goes right up to the mind's eye in between the eyebrows, the ajna center. And that's where the breath actually flips over and becomes an exhale. So if you could focus all your time and attention on the cool air coming in the nostrils, coming up to the mind's eye on the inhale, if you could be there when it's not an inhale and it's not an exhale, be there on the in between, and then allow the exhale and feel that warmer air coming out of the nose. This would help you stay focused and in the moment with intention of being with a full breath of breathing in and breathing out.
Oh,
That's great.
that is wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm calmer already.
And every time you slip off to a thought, an emotion, or a feeling, you simply note it and gently escort your mind back to the next
Mhm.
inhale.
Mm. Okay.
Refocus, focus.
Yep.
Yep,
So-
mindful.
Yeah.
And this is
Beautiful.
something that anyone can do.
Mhm.
It doesn't cost any money. You don't need any
Sitting
special
right here.
equipment. So
Yeah. And on the exhale, you relax your chin, you relax your shoulder, and wherever body part finds any ache or pain, you take your awareness there and just let it go.
Okay.
so
Thank you.
wonderful. So wonderful. So Dr. Amato, is there anything that we didn't get to that you would like to share with our listeners before we
No, I
close
think
up?
it was a great interview, and I think you hit on all the aspects that are important to Jacqueline and I.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So then we
That's
are so
great.
excited. So we'll put all of your information in our show notes. So when our episode comes out, if people forgot what we said or they didn't remember, they'll be able to go on and have all the information to get to both of your websites and look into the retreats and also all the services that you offer. So thank you both for coming on today. We've been looking forward to having you.
Yeah.
And we're so excited that you were able to share your time and give us your time and attention for the full 45 minutes. So thank you very much. And as always, we will be back with another episode with more amazing people doing great things in mental health and wellness. And Cindy always has our words of wisdom at the
Yes.
end.
So you'll love this because we always say, remember to pause, breathe, and then respond.
Oh, I love
And-
it.
Yeah.
We have little stickers. Well, Jen is going to
We'll
have to
them
send you to you.
Yes.
So which we give out.
Mhm.
And always do hard things.
Yes.
And if you can, follow the podcast. That's
yes,
really
please
helpful to
follow
us.
our podcast. It will be very helpful. So
right.
thank you so much. Thank you.
much.
Have a great day, and we'll see everybody soon.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
so much. We're grateful and
Bye-bye.
honored. Have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, namaste.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Namaste.
Bye-bye.